It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. The man in the arena, as these words are known, are part of a speech given by Teddy Roosevelt in 1910. The man in the arena serves as a rallying call, prompting men to not just sit on the sidelines or in the comfort of their homes, criticizing all that is happening in the world around them and the people who are actually doing the work, but to become men of action, to enter the arena, prepared to fight, to fail, to fall, and to stand up and fight again, until he either wins or else has nothing left to give. Roosevelt's words have a universality to them in that they have meaning not only for athletes and competitors and soldiers who are actually in an arena, but also for those who have a deep desire to change the world, change their communities, their businesses, and even for those who desire only to improve their own lives and the lives of their families by struggling violently for the right things. All men have deep inside them a yearning to be immersed in a battle, to lead, to protect, to defend, to fight, and in the end, to rise victorious. It's the reason for the popularity of sports for both the athlete and the spectator. It's the reason for the popularity of action movies, comic book heroes, and video games. It's the reason that young boys make up battles and storylines with action figures or friends, and that when they get older, they do dangerous things that make their parents cringe. It's The Hobbit, Narnia, William Wallace, Maximus Decimus Meridius, The Old Man and the Sea, and every good father's envy of Bluey's dad. The stakes are not always life or death. Sometimes it's just saying the exact thing that needs to be heard by your child, wife, a friend or family member, or even a stranger who's hurting. Sometimes it's completing a project at work or attempting a new PR in the gym. Sometimes it's just about getting up the nerve to ask out that girl. And sometimes it is about life and death. Sometimes it's about the life and death of the most helpless and innocent among us, those whom we as men have been charged to protect. For generations, men have been shouted down and silenced in the pro-life conversation with the lies that abortion is about women's health and reproductive rights, and that because we don't have a uterus, we have no voice in the fight, no right to even speak in favor of life and against the atrocities of abortion. But abortion isn't about women's health. Abortion isn't about reproductive rights. Abortion isn't about a clump of cells. Abortion is about killing babies to avoid inconvenience. Abortion is the most extreme act of selfishness facing our world today. Abortion advocates use fatherlessness and irresponsible men as an excuse, while robbing loving fathers of their children. For decades, men have been told to sit down, shut up, and take it, as their hands have been tied and their children have been killed. We have been fed false guilt and shame and been called sexists, racists, misogynists, and bigots, all for wanting and trying to protect our children. Now, to be clear, I am not saying, nor do I pretend to believe, that all men are innocent here. Abortion was created by men. Roe v. Wade was decided solely by men. Abortion is pushed upon women every day by men trying to escape responsibility or scandal, or even as a form of psychological abuse and manipulation over the women in their lives. Just last month, the current U.S. Secretary of Transportation, in a fundraising call for a group called White Dudes for Kamala, clearly proclaimed the reason that men are pro-choice when he said, "Men are more free in a country where we have access to abortion." But this is not the voice of true men. This is the voice of grown-up boys living their life in service of themselves at all cost, at the literal cost of others' lives. This is the voice of manipulation, the voice of those who have created an arena into which they need not enter, where they can be mere spectators to the war on babies without fear of harm to themselves. This is the voice of boys raised in homes without fathers, or whose fathers were absent or broken men. This is the voice of the cold and timid souls referenced by Roosevelt. Real men were not created to be spectators. Men were designed to lead, to protect, to struggle against evil, to enter the arena knowing they are on the side of righteousness, understanding that they may not win, and accepting that they may be harmed in the service of others. Real men balance strength with compassion, empathy with integrity, and loyalty with honor. True men can show bravery entering a fight for something which he was told he had no right to stand, answer the screams of hatred and name-calling with politeness, and speak honestly to the lies of the opposition. I'm Sean Corcoran, the CEO of Men for Life, a nonprofit organization founded in 2018. Our mission is to protect human life through all stages by empowering men to use their voices as informed, active, and purposeful pro-life men. We will achieve our mission by being a voice for pro-life men, by sharing stories of men on the front lines of the abortion fight, as well as stories of men and fathers who have been personally impacted by abortion, and by giving men the tools and resources they need to be able to enter the arena to both speak and act with strength and compassion in defense of life. It is our duty as men to serve others and to protect those entrusted to our care, especially those who cannot protect themselves. The Men for Life organization and mission are close to my own heart. When my first son, Michael, was killed in an abortion, I was 19 years old. Nothing that I said in his defense mattered. The law was against us simply because I was a man. Michael's mother and her family were against us because she believed that having a child at that time would have negatively impacted her plans. I was not aware of any resources for men and fathers at that time. I fought for Michael's life the best I could with what I had, but without the words or tools to win, and I lost. I lost the fight, and I lost my son. I lost the opportunity to be the father that Michael deserved, and Michael lost the opportunity to become all that he was created to be. He lost any chance to love and to feel loved, to laugh and to cry, to win, to lose, and to learn. He might have been a teacher or a trash man, a doctor or a starving artist, a soldier or an addict. But instead, he was killed as an inconvenience and never had the chance to show the world who he was. That abortion didn't just kill Michael. It killed something inside of me as his father as well. I spent the rest of that semester away at college sitting in my dorm room staring at the wall, and I failed out of school. I moved home and I did what I could to shove the pain and memory down deep enough to forget, but remained broken and acted accordingly. Because when Michael died, my life changed. I began numbing the pain with alcohol, drugs, women, anything that would keep my mind distracted. I failed out of school 2 more times and was unable to go back. My drug use became a habit, using methamphetamine and cocaine every day, working 3 and 4 jobs at a time to support my habits. On Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, I was taking 6 or 7 ecstasy pills on top of the amphetamines, and my habit quickly became an addiction. Addicted to meth and taking any other drug I could get my hands on to keep me from feeling anything, I spent years living out all of the addictive behaviors: lying, stealing, manipulating, blaming, victimizing. I hurt everyone I came into contact with, until eventually there was nobody left. Nobody would answer my calls because everyone knew that everything I said was a lie, and they had to protect themselves from me. And at 27 years old, at the height of a 7-year meth addiction, I was homeless, unemployed, alone, and had been instructed to stay where I was and wait for the police to arrive to arrest me for theft from my recent employer. With nothing and no one left, I removed the single remaining light bulb from a hotel room wall and used it to smoke the last of my meth. And I lay face down on the dark and dirty carpet, overdosing and expecting and ready to die. I wasn't scared to die. Honestly, at that point, I was probably more scared to continue to live. But I was terrified of disappointing my parents, once again, by dying in that position under those circumstances. I was terrified of bringing any more negativity onto my family, especially as my grand finale in life. I was terrified of creating a permanent disruption in their peace. And so, even though I was fine with the idea of giving up and being free of the sadness, loneliness, anger, guilt, shame, and all of the pain that had built up over the years, even though I knew without a doubt that nobody, not even God, would believe another plea for help coupled with a promise to change. Hell, even I knew at that time it was a lie. Even though this was true, I found myself praying that God would let me live so that in dying, I wouldn't hurt my family in that way. I found myself praying slowly, methodically, half-heartedly, and repeatedly, and I passed out. When I woke, it was morning and the police hadn't come yet. It had been about 24 hours of silence, and the shock of being told to wait had turned into the realization that I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to get arrested. More importantly, I didn't want to live another day as the person that I'd become. So I walked outside and down the stairs to my small truck, which held inside everything I owned. And I reached in and pulled out a treatment center pamphlet, which had been shoved behind the driver's seat for 2 years. I called and asked when they could get me in, and they said I could come immediately. I called my dad, who hadn't spoken to me since he caught me stealing from him several weeks prior, and I told him what had happened with the restaurant and where I was going and asked for gas money. He was smart enough not to give me gas money, but he bought me a tank of gas and told me to call him when I got there. And I drove the 3.5-hour trip north through the Kisatchie National Forest in a truck that was visibly going to break down any minute and hadn't had an oil change or any other repairs or maintenance in 4 or 5 years, to the treatment center in Shreveport, Louisiana. I prayed the whole way that that truck wouldn't leave me stranded. And when I started hitting hills in Shreveport, it started shaking and jolting. And when I pulled into the parking lot, the truck died and had to be pushed into a parking spot. It was at that treatment center, through multiple therapy sessions a day, that a counselor was able to help me connect my addiction and my destructive, addictive behaviors to the pain in my life which precipitated them. It was there that I was given the gift of remembering my son and naming him Michael. It was there that I was given the gift of feeling the pain and beginning to heal. Over the past 18 years since I entered treatment and got clean, that healing process has continued. I'm now an attorney and a real estate investor. I'm married with 2 more biological children and 3 adopted children. At least one of my adopted sons was given the most selfless gift when his mother, who knew that she would not be able to care for him, carried him to term and immediately upon his birth asked the doctor to help him find a good home. Abortion doesn't just kill babies. It doesn't just affect mothers or women. Abortion affects everyone, including brothers, sisters, grandparents, cousins, friends, and fathers. When Michael was killed 27 years ago, I didn't know how to fight, where to go, or who to turn to for help. I didn't have any resources readily available which may have helped me to say the right thing and save his life. Our goal through Men for Life is to reach men, to reach fathers, and to provide those resources so that they have a voice and so that they and their children can have a fighting chance. Our goal is to empower men everywhere through our community with the words and tools to confidently enter the arena, to dare greatly and to strive valiantly for the protection of their children, without fear of false guilt and shame from the lies of the opposition. We know that we cannot do this alone, but all I'm asking of you today is to please like this video, subscribe to our channel, follow Men for Life on Instagram. All of this will help to share our message as we speak out for life. And if you know men who are fighting against abortion and who have been impacted by abortion, please help put us in contact with them. If you do this, you're helping me to honor Michael and all of the unborn and preborn children, and you'll be helping Men for Life to be a voice for men in the arena fighting against abortion. Thank you.